You know, in South Africa, man, the moment you try to make sense, you know what is the first thing that people will say to you? You are sponsored by white monopoly capital. You are a product of the Democratic Alliance. You are a puppet of the white monopoly capital, man. People always say these things. People always say these things, and I do not blame them. I do not blame them because in South Africa, man, as I've said before, politicians have mastered the game of racial and identity politics so much that even in South Africa today, the people are playing the racial politics and identity politics on behalf of politicians. Politicians no longer need to play racial politics. They no longer need to play identity politics. They have their own people, man, playing the same card for them. I'm saying this because, you know, every time when I would make a video expressing my views about illegal immigrants and what illegal immigration is doing to the country, instead of actually addressing the points that I'm trying to make, some people will come on this platform and say that, Thomas, you hate your people so much. You hate your own black people, man. You are against the African unit. You are a member or you are sponsored by white monopoly capital. You are a member of the Democratic Alliance. And I'm like, whoa. Am I actually supposed to feel bad when people say that I'm a member of Democratic Alliance? Am I supposed to feel bad when people say that, Thomas, you are sponsored by white monopoly capital? Am I supposed to feel bad? Because, of course, for argument's sake, let's say you are right. Let's say you are right for argument's sake that I'm a puppet of white monopoly capital. I'm a puppet of the DA. I hate the African people. Why are you not the puppet of black monopoly capital? If you think that white monopoly capital sponsors everyone who pushes their own narrative, why isn't the black monopoly capital sponsoring people who are pushing their own narrative? Oh, you don't want to talk about that. You are saying that I'm a member of Democratic Alliance, as if I'm supposed to feel bad when people say that you are a member of Democratic Alliance. There's nothing wrong with people supporting the Democratic Alliance. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people supporting the Democratic Alliance. I mean, guys, this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That people in South Africa, especially black people, people who are used to groupthink, people who are used to politicians who always play the racial and identity politics, they don't want to hear independent thoughts. There's nothing those people hate than independent thoughts because they cannot practice independent thoughts in their own spaces. Those people are used to groupthink. That's why every time when you say something that they don't like, instead of addressing what you are talking about, they will address you as a man. That's why they will come on this platform and say that, Thomas, you are sponsored by white monopoly capital, you are sponsored by the DA. They will not address what I'm talking about because they think by saying that I'm sponsored by white monopoly capital, I'm a supporter of the DA, they think that they can bash me using the racial politics. They think they can bash me into submission. They think they can bash me into submission. And that thing, it is not going to work because I can tell you today that there is nothing wrong with black people joining the Democratic Alliance. There is nothing wrong with black people joining the Democratic Alliance. Anyone who tells black people not to vote for the African National Congress, to consider voting for other parties, that person actually loves South Africa. If you tell people that, guys, I don't care what choice you make, but please, I'm begging you, do not vote for the African National Congress. Even if you want to join the Democratic Alliance, there is nothing wrong with joining the DA. There's nothing wrong with joining the DA. The DA is a legal political party in South Africa that has millions and millions of black people supporting the party. So why are people going around trying to make some of us feel bad by saying that, guys, you are the supporter of the Democratic Alliance? Man, there's nothing wrong with people being the supporters of Democratic Alliance. Stop going around and bashing people. Man, you see this tactic. I've seen this tactic a couple of times, especially on social media. Everyone who tries to express their independent thoughts, that's what people will say to them. You are a supporter of the Democratic Alliance. You are sponsored by white monopoly capital. Guys, why isn't the black monopoly capital sponsoring you? Why isn't the black monopoly capital sponsoring you? You know, when it comes to me, people will say those things whenever I talk about illegal immigrants, because you know the supporters of the EFF and the supporters of the ANC, they actually want South Africans, especially the taxpayers of this country, to shut their mouths and pay for illegal immigrants. Every time I would come on this platform and I would say, guys, if you want to come to live in South Africa, it is okay. You can come live in South Africa. South Africans do not hate immigrants. Man, South Africa is one of the most diverse countries in the world. If you come outside of South Africa, please make sure that you come into the country legally. All of these people that are jumping the borders, we are bashing them because we don't know who these people are. We cannot even identify them in our communities, and we are bashing those people. These guardians of black people, they will come on this platform and say, Thomas, you hate your own people so much. You hate your own people so much. You are a supporter and you are sponsored by white monopoly capital, and you sound like you are a member of the Democratic Alliance. And I'm thinking, man, am I supposed to feel bad when someone say that I'm a supporter of Democratic Alliance? I'm not. I'm not, guys. I'm not one of those people that you can simply bash into submission. You cannot bash me into submission. You cannot bash me into submission, or you cannot silence me into submission by keep saying that you are sponsored by white monopoly capital, you are sponsored by Democratic Alliance. Man, all of those things, they don't mean nothing to me. They don't mean nothing to me. But unfortunately, not many people around us are like me. Unfortunately, not many people can actually withstand the criticism, especially the stupid criticism that comes from people who want the taxpayers of this country to shut their own mouth when illegal immigrants are flocking into the country and taxpayers are paying for everything. They wanted the taxpayers of this country to shut their mouths when illegal immigrants jump into the country, and they want taxpayers to simply shut their mouth and pay for everything of the illegal immigrants, because we are pushing for this one Africa, one unity. Man, I don't care about one Africa. I don't care about one unity. I don't want that one Africa thing to happen at the expense of South Africa. Why don't you guys go to Zimbabwe? Why don't you guys go to Lesotho? Why don't you go to Zambia and push for that one Africa? For some reason, this one Africa thing is supposed to happen in South Africa. For some reason, South African taxpayers are supposed to pay for everything that has to do with illegal immigrants, because we are pushing for one Africa. For some reason, we have to remember that the comrades, the ANC comrades, they used to go in exile in Zambia and Mozambique and Lesotho. So in return, South Africa must open its borders and allow millions and millions of people who come from those countries, and the taxpayers of this country are supposed to pay for everything. And I'm supposed to come on this platform and say, guys, that is okay. That is completely okay. Guys, I will never say that. I will never say that, man. I will always prioritize South Africa. I will always prioritize South Africa over Africa. I don't care if Africa comes together. I don't care if that African unity actually happens or not. I don't care about that. I care about South Africa. I care about the well-being of South Africa. I don't care about the well-being of Africa. I don't. So politicians in South Africa have managed to play the racial card and identity politics so much that the people are now playing it for them. The people are now playing for them. I mean, like, guys, even if you look at someone like John Steeuinhuisen, John Steeuinhuisen can stand on stage and say things that are completely true. John Steeuinhuisen can stand on stage and say, guys, this is what the African National Congress is doing to us. We cannot allow the African National Congress to do all of these things for us. But guess what? People are not going to listen to John Steeuinhuisen, not because what John Steeuinhuisen is saying is stupid, because John Steeuinhuisen is a white man. This is how the South African politicians have actually managed to condition the people, that no matter whatever that comes from the Democratic Alliance, you cannot listen to it. You cannot listen to it. You cannot listen to black people who are joining the Democratic Alliance. No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that, man. It is wrong for a black man to even consider voting for the Democratic Alliance. It is even wrong for a black man to even join the Democratic Alliance. But for some reason, there's nothing wrong with the white man, Carl Nias, joining the EFF. No, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is how the politicians have actually managed to play with the identity politics and racial politics. And people are here. People are here. Guys, I want you to look at this video. I want you to look at this video. I want you to listen to this video that I'm about to play for you. This video right here of John Steeuinhuisen, man, he's not focusing on identity. He's not focusing on certain members within the African National Congress. He's talking about governance as a whole. According to me, this is one of the videos that was supposed to go viral, but it is not going to go viral. This video will not go viral. Why? Because John Steeuinhuisen is a white man, and South African politicians have actually conditioned the people in this country that, man, no matter what a white politician say, you cannot listen to a white politician. You cannot listen to a white politician, man. No matter how bad the treatment that you get from black politicians, you must stick with those black politicians. This is what the ANC is saying right now. The ANC is telling people that, guys, the DA is not even an option. The DA is not even an option. The EFF is telling people the same thing, that, guys, the DA is not even an option. They are telling their own people that, guys, you would rather suffer in our own hands. Guys, choose to suffer within our own hands. Do not suffer within the hands of the Democratic Alliance. South African politicians, man, have actually broken the mentality of these 30%ers. These 30%ers, they cannot even think. They cannot even think. They cannot even make critical arguments because they are being told that everything that comes from the DA is bad.
All right, Democratic Alliance leader John Steeuinhuisen is leading a picket to dissolve the ANC-EFF-run eTHEKWINI municipality. The party says it is planning to launch a rescue plan for KwaZulu-Natal from the coalition-run municipality. Let's take you live there now. He's on the podium.
Simply taken for granted. We've gotten used to living with a government that just doesn't care about the people on the ground. We've gotten used to living without critical services like water and sanitation and transport. We've gotten used to living with an under-resourced police service. We've gotten used to living without jobs.
I mean, like, all of these things that John Steeuinhuisen is talking about, they are true. They are true. But for some reason, man, people there in KZN, they will never allow. They will never allow. I was seeing the comments of this thing, man. People are saying that it is fine for the EFF and the ANC to treat people how they treat them in eTHEKWINI. It is fine. But the people cannot give the DA a chance. That's what they are saying. You cannot give the DA a chance. You cannot give the DA a chance. Despite the mess that the ANC and the EFF is making, you cannot give the DA a chance.
We've got far too used to living with hospitals that no longer treat the sick and keep our citizens healthy. And most recently, we've been forced to get used to living without electricity. Now, what?
I mean, if you think about electricity, man, do you think we would ever be at the point where South Africans are actually used to load shedding? I didn't think that one day we would be at the point where South Africans are actually used to load shedding. I never thought that South Africans would be used to load shedding, man. I never thought that. But right now, when you listen to South Africans speak, man, South Africans, they will tell you that, yeah, my favorite schedule is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. or I love that schedule from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. People now have their own favorite schedules. You have your own favorite schedules. Can you imagine that, man? I mean, it's simply telling you that people are now used to load shedding, that even if you're a political party and you are running with load shedding, man, this whole issue of load shedding, it doesn't matter to people. The issue of load shedding doesn't matter to people, just like the issue of service delivery. I've always told the political parties in South Africa that, guys, when you campaign in South Africa, stop telling people about the service delivery. The South Africans have voted for non-service delivery for 30 years. South Africans have voted for a party that actually never gave them service delivery for 30 years. So South Africans are actually okay with living without a service delivery. Right now, South Africans are used to load shedding. I don't think this issue of load shedding, it is actually going to hold some weight, because now South Africans are saying, my favorite schedule is at 2, my favorite schedule is at 3. Man, this thing was never supposed to be accepted. Load shedding was never supposed to be accepted, man. People were supposed to be on the streets protesting, man, burning things down because of this load shedding. But no, this is not what people are doing. People are actually used to load shedding. People are used to their own governments actually abusing them. They are used to their own people are abusing them, man. Even where I live right now, every night at 6 p.m., they shut the waters down. Every night at 6 p.m., they shut the waters down. You will get the water the next morning. People are used to that. People are saying, guys, but this is weird. Why do we have water up until 6 p.m. and we will have water in the next morning, maybe at 5 or 6 a.m.? People are saying nothing about that because they are being used to that. They are used to live without water. They are used to live without electricity. They are used to live with the rubbish within their communities and the sewage is spilling all over. They are used to that. They are used to that. And these are the things that the people were never supposed to get used to. People were never supposed to get used to living in a community that has sewages from left to right. People were never supposed to get used to that. People were never supposed to live with the communities that doesn't have water. Man, we were never supposed to get used to that. But right now, we are used to living without water. We are used to living without service delivery. We are used to living without electricity. Right now, people are basically used to ANC abusing them. They are used to ANC abusing them. But when DA comes out and say, guys, stop voting for the ANC, come and vote for us. We can actually bring you change. People are saying, no, DA is a white party. I cannot vote for a white party. I would rather vote for the ANC. The same ANC that is abusing me each and every day. I would rather vote for that ANC instead of voting for this DA that is actually going to bring change. This is what the identity politics and racial politics has actually done. This is what the racial politics has actually done. Because people do not see the DA as a political party. They see the DA as a white organization because of South African politicians. Right now, the same people who are seeing the DA as a white organization because of the narrative of the politician, they are suffering. They are suffering. They cannot even look at the DA as an alternative. I'm not saying people must go out and vote for the DA, but I'm saying that the people need to be able to look everywhere. People need to be able to exercise their options and say, guys, we don't only have the ANC, DA, and EFF as political party. We have other political parties. How about we listen to the manifesto of this political party? How about we listen to the interviews of Herman Mashaba? How about we listen to Rise Say? You remember Rise Say? They did the manifesto launch over the weekend. How about we listen to Rise Say and hear maybe what Rise Say is going to say? No. People are used to what John Steeuinhuisen is talking about. People are used to living without electricity. People are used to living without a service delivery. They are used to living with open sewages. They are used to living without water.
All these things that we've lost under a government that has failed to deliver are things that cause riots and revolutions in other countries. We in South Africa did something different. We adopted the most South African attitude of all. We made a plan.
Man, South Africans are sick and tired of making a plan. But I don't know. You know, I'm conflicted when I talk about South Africans, man. I think I need to make it clear that majority of the people in the country, man, have actually chosen that, man, we are okay with the country being like this. Majority of the people in the country, man, are okay with South Africa being like this. They are. There are many minority in the country or in this country, man. They are not okay with where the country is going. Minority in this country, man, especially the taxpayers, they are sick and tired of making plans when they have the government. You have the government, but you must make plans. You must make plans, man. South Africans are sick and tired of making plans. South Africans are sick and tired of Ramaphosa telling you that you guys have resilience. South Africans do not have resilience. Taxpayers in this country, man, are overburdened. They are sick and tired of the ANC telling them that, guys, we can make a plan. We have survived it all. You know the comrades, man. The comrades will be like, yeah, you see COVID, we had COVID, but with our strong unity as South Africans, we have managed to beat COVID. These people are saying we have managed to beat COVID. We have made a plan against COVID, but the politicians were not suffering during COVID-19. Politicians did not lose their jobs during COVID-19. Hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, lost their jobs due to COVID-19. Those people now are depending on their 350 social grants, and you have politicians telling you that, guys, we fought COVID-19 and we actually won COVID-19. I'm sick and tired of politicians telling South Africans that you guys are resilient, you guys are strong, you guys are making plans. Man, South Africans are sick and tired of making plans.
Our families have made a plan. When the schools failed, those who could sent their children to private schools. When the ANC destroyed public transport, people bought cars. Those who could afford it installed solar electricity. But of course, we know that the majority of citizens in eTHEKWINI and in this province cannot afford to do that. They don't have the money because they don't have jobs. They can't go and put in a solar system in their home. They can't sink JoJo tanks and pumps to put rainwater up into their homes. But they also made a plan. They formed stokvels to help in emergency medical situations. They made a plan to help community police forums and street committees keep the citizens safe. And that is a unique South African resilience in make a plan. Make a plan. But it's also now time to face up to the other side of that story. Because for far too long, this government has abused the resilience of our people.
Exactly, man. Exactly. They keep telling the people that you guys are resilient, you are the toughest human beings on this earth. But they don't see what their governance is doing to the people of this country. They don't see their incompetent governance, what it's doing to the people of this country. Every time, Ramaphosa has never actually acknowledged that, guys, the country is going downward. Ramaphosa has never actually acknowledged that, guys, our infrastructure is a mess. He has never acknowledged that the way we run governance, it is not how things are supposed to be run. Ramaphosa has never acknowledged that. Instead, Ramaphosa keeps insisting that the ANC is doing a wonderful job. To show these people are actually disrespecting you, they tell you that the ANC I'm sorry. They tell you that the ANC is doing a good job. They cannot even acknowledge that, guys, millions of people have lost their jobs. They cannot even acknowledge that, guys, it is our fault that today we have over 60% of unemployed young people in this country. Millions and millions of people who are able and ready to work. They are sitting at home doing nothing. They cannot acknowledge that. They keep insisting that the ANC has done a good job. The ANC has done a good job. The ANC has done a good job. And they are saying that the South Africans are resilient. Man, South Africans are sick and tired of being resilient. I don't know where these politicians live, but where I live, man, it looks like there's something brewing in South Africa. It looks like South Africa, man, it looks like South Africa, man, one day, man, South Africa, this bomb will go off. One day this bomb will go off, man. Not even politicians will be able to stop it. Not even politicians will be able to stop it because South Africans are sick and tired, man. South Africans are sick and tired, man. They have bad governance. Crime is totally out of control. They have incompetent ministers, man. Their children are not working. Everything is not working in South Africa. But the governing party has the guts to stand in front of you and tell you that, man, we are doing a wonderful job. We are doing a wonderful job. Just listen to what John Steeuinhuisen is talking about, man. John Steeuinhuisen is not mentioning people. He's not mentioning people, man. He's talking about the governance that is taking that is talking about the governance that is actually running South Africa. But people are not going to listen to John Steeuinhuisen simply because John Steeuinhuisen is white. Man, I've always said that. Have you realized that when the DA comes out and say, guys, you cannot vote for the EFF and for the ANC, the DA will give you reasons why you cannot vote for the EFF and the ANC. The DA will give you the reasons, but when it comes to the ANC and the EFF, the only thing that the ANC and the EFF has to say to the people within the communities is that, guys, you cannot vote for the DA. The DA is a white racist party. That's enough. That's enough. All of the reasons that the DA gave to the people, they have been thrown out. People now listen to the EFF and the ANC when they simply tell you that, guys, you cannot listen to the DA because the DA is a white racist party. This is where we are in South Africa. So the politicians and the political parties, man, have managed to mess up with people's brains so much that people right now are incapable of thinking in their own spaces. They are incapable of thinking in their own spaces. Because if the DA is going to come out and say, guys, do not vote for the DA, do not vote for the ANC and the EFF because we have the papers, we have the evidence. These people, man, have destroyed this municipality. These people have destroyed this state-owned entity. These people have destroyed this. They are giving you reasons why you are not supposed to vote for these political parties. But these political parties are not doing the same. The only thing that these political parties are doing when they are defending themselves against the DA, simply to mention that the DA is a white party. Black people cannot vote for that party. Black people cannot vote for that party, man. They are doing the same thing they are doing on this platform. Most of the time, people who oppose this stuff, they do not oppose what I say. They oppose me as a person. That's why every time they will say, Thomas, you are a member of the DA, as if I'm supposed to feel bad by being the member of the DA. Even if I was a member of the DA, am I supposed to feel bad for being the member of the DA? At least I'm advocating for a DA. At least I would be advocating for a DA, a legal political party in South Africa. I would not be advocating for illegal immigrants over South Africans. I would not be advocating for illegal immigrants over South Africans. But no, South Africans are even incapable of thinking, because this is what politicians have done to them. Guys, I'm going to make a video on the streets, and I'm only going to have one question. You're going to see how people respond. I'm only going to have one question. I'm simply going to ask people, what do you think about the DA? What do you think about the DA? Guys, I'm going to make that video. I promise you, I'm going to make you that video.
It has taken each and every one of you and each and every one of the citizens out there in our communities for granted. Now, among the many things you've heard Cyril Ramaphosa say recently is that he praises the resilience of the South African people. Let me tell you today that when he praises your resilience, he doesn't mean it as a compliment.
Exactly.
Because the ANC are laughing at you. You've had to make a plan around their failures while they continue to loot, they continue to benefit. We are left to make a plan.
Man, whether you like it or not, man, I'm starting to think that John Steeuinhuisen is listening to me. No, Thomas, stop blowing your own horn. Yeah, I know I'm blowing my own horn. People need to chill out. But I'm starting to think that John Steeuinhuisen is listening to me, man. The ANC is laughing at the people of this country. The ANC is laughing at the poor people of this country. Majority of those people are black. The ANC is laughing at those people. I mean, like, how easy it is to fool these people. If I was the ANC, I would be laughing at the people of South Africa too. I would be laughing at the people of South Africa. Just imagine, these people, man, keep giving you a chance, despite you showing them that you do not deserve that chance. The people of South Africa, they keep voting for you. They keep voting for you. Despite everything you do. Despite everything you do, man, the ANC can be exposed in the biggest scandal. The president of the ANC right now has been exposed in Palapara scandal. The ANC cadres, every week, they're being exposed every week. We see how the infrastructure is. We see the fact that people are unemployed. We see crime is totally out of control. These are the people's personal experiences. I'm not talking about the political statements. I'm talking about people's personal experiences. People are living in the neighborhoods that are filled with sewage. People are living in the neighborhoods that have turned into illegal dumpings. People are living in neighborhoods that crime is totally out of control. But for some reason, these people keep voting for the ANC. Man, if I was an ANC member, or if I was an ANC beneficiary, man, I was going to laugh at the people of South Africa, at the stupidity of the people of South Africa, at the naivety of the people of this country. That, man, how can we treat poor people like this and poor people still vote for us? It makes no sense. I think even ANC knows that, guys, if we lived in a sane country, we were supposed to be out when Thabo Mbeki went out. Jacob Zuma was never supposed to qualify for the presidency of this country. If we lived in a sane country, when Thabo Mbeki existed at the office, the ANC was supposed to be dead then. But no, the ANC did not die. They voted for Jacob Zuma. For 2 terms, the poor people of this country, they voted for Jacob Zuma. Can you imagine that? After that, the same people, they got rid of Jacob Zuma because they said Jacob Zuma is a thug. He's eating with his Gupta friends. This man is corrupt. Now in our country, we have state capture. The same people go on and vote for Cyril Ramaphosa. The same people that voted for Jacob Zuma, they went on and voted for Cyril Ramaphosa. Man, the ANC is laughing at you. The ANC is laughing at you. Whether you like it or not, the ANC is laughing at South Africans that, man, how stupid these people are. How gullible these people are. How is it possible that we are destroying these people's lives? We are destroying their children's future. But for some reason, these people, they keep voting for us. They are laughing at you. The ANC is laughing at you each and every day. The ANC is laughing at you. They wake up, they see their bank notifications, they see their tender approvals, and they laugh at the people of this country that, man, we don't even have to work for the people of this country. You know that the most messed up thing is that the ANC doesn't even need to work. The ministers, man, what are the ministers doing? The ministers are doing nothing. What are the ANC parliamentarians doing? They're doing nothing. What are the ANC mayors, the ANC premiers, the councillors, MMC? What are those people doing? They are doing nothing because the country is collapsing while they are there. These people, they are simply throwing out the fed salaries while laughing at the people of this country. The ANC is laughing at you. I'm telling poor black people in this country, ANC is laughing at you. You are busy, man. You are busy. You are busy. You are focused on identity politics and racial politics. Keep telling us that I cannot vote for the Democratic Alliance because the DA is a white party. You come on this platform, you tell me that, Thomas, you are sponsored by the DA. Man, if I'm sponsored by the DA, why is not the EFF sponsoring you? Why is the EFF not sponsoring you? These are the questions that people need to answer. Before you come on this platform and say that, Thomas, you are a product of white monopoly capital, man, you need to understand, why is the black monopoly capital not funding you? If I'm being funded by white monopoly capital, it simply shows you that white people care about their narrative more than black people, because black people are not sponsoring their own narratives. Again, if I say that, man, Thomas, you are a racist, you hate your own black people. Man, I'm saying that people need to stay there and still there. Stay still with your victim mentality while the ANC is laughing at you. Still with your victim mentality while the ANC is laughing at you.
And they are sitting in the mansions that you pay for. They're being driven around in the cars that you pay for.
Yes.
They don't have load shedding in their homes because they've got generators and fuel that you pay for.
Yes.
They don't worry about criminals because they're surrounded by police officers that you pay for. They are laughing at you, and they are laughing at every one of our citizens.
Of course, man, the ANC is laughing at the people of this country. The ANC is laughing at the people of this country, man. I'm telling you today, even if I was the member of the ANC, I would laugh at the people of South Africa. I would laugh at you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I would laugh at you, because how can you guys continue to vote for me? Despite me destroying your lives, you guys, you love me so much that you're gonna continue voting for me simply because I told you that I fought for apartheid. I only have to tell you that I fought for apartheid, man. That is enough for you guys to vote for me for 30 years. For 30 years, you know what is going to happen. You see the education that has been given to young people in this country, man. The politicians, man, they are sending their children overseas. The politicians are sending their children overseas. They are giving your children the 30%. They are flying their children out in overseas. In a couple of years, the children of politicians will be in charge of your children, because your children are not critical thinkers. Your children are nothing but a bunch of 30%ers. The children of politicians will be presiding over your children. Let's see how you love it then. Let's see how you love it then. Let's see how you love it then. Politicians are not even sending their children to these schools in South Africa. They know that the education system in South Africa is a mess. They cannot send their children to these schools in South Africa. So they are sending their children to UK. They are sending their children to China. They are sending their children to America. When their children come back, they're going to preside over your children, because your children are nothing but 30%ers.
They have convinced themselves. They have convinced themselves that the South African people will always just make a plan and will never, ever hold them accountable for their failures. But I'm here today with an urgent warning, not only for eTHEKWINI and KwaZulu-Natal, but for the country. Because there's one thing that the ANC is busy taking away from people in eTHEKWINI, in the province and around the country. And it's something that we're not going to be able to just make a plan to get around. It's not something we're going to be able to just work around. The latest thing that the ANC is taking from you now is your water. Your water is gone.
But man, the ANC has taken people's water, man, for such a long time. It is not the latest, but the ANC has taken people's water for such a long time. Like I'm telling you, man, where I live, especially here in the Free State, a lot of people in the Free State, they will tell you that, man, our water is like electricity. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. you have water. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. you don't have water. Our water is like that in the Free State. Our water is like that in the Free State, man. People are used to this. People are used to this, man. I never thought in my whole life that people would actually be used to living without water. People would be used to living without electricity. People would be used to living with open sewages. And people would be used to living with illegal dumpings. I never thought that people would be used to that. I never thought that people would be used to that. But unfortunately, man, this is South Africa. People are used to those things. They are used to those things. And when we tell them that, guys, how can you allow these people to treat you like this? They are saying, no, you cannot tell me that these people are treating me like this because you are sponsored by white monopoly capital. I'm shouting here each and every day saying black people, you guys, we deserve better. We deserve better, man. We don't deserve the government we don't deserve this government that we have today. You go to every community where black people live today, man. Go to Alexandra, go to Limpopo, you go to KZN, you go to every neighborhood where black people live. You simply go there and see how black people live. But the moment you tell these people to vote otherwise, no. You are sponsored by white monopoly capital. They will never turn their backs on the ANC. They will keep voting for the ANC, despite what the ANC is doing to them. Despite what the ANC is doing to them. So their people, men, have been broken. Even their minds have been broken. Their minds have been broken. You see the politicians and the political parties that love to play racial politics and identity politics. Those political parties, men, they are not actually willing to grow this country and move this country forward. They are not willing to move this country forward. They are not. But it is very sad because even when you try to speak with the people and be like, guys, why do we keep voting for these political parties? Why do we keep voting for the ANC? Why do you guys keep advocating for the ANC and the EFF? No, we won't vote for the DA because the DA is a white party. But okay, fine. Are you okay with black people treating you like this? Are you okay? Yeah, I would rather have this treatment from the ANC and the EFF instead of having this treatment from the DA. Man, the DA is not going to give you this treatment. How do you know the DA is not going to give me this treatment? You know what Julius Malema and Cyril Ramaphosa said? They said that if the DA comes into power, apartheid is coming back. So we cannot vote for the DA. This is how you reason with people within our communities, man. This is how you reason with our people within our communities. These are the things that people will tell you. People will tell you these things that, man, I would rather suffer under this African National Congress. I would rather suffer under this EFF. I am not going to even consider voting for other political party, more especially the DA. Because if I vote for the DA, apartheid is coming back. This is what the ANC and the EFF politicians are telling to the people. And you want me to believe that these people actually care about the future of this country? Because if you care about the future of this country, man, you would actually debate the issues. You would not play identity politics. You would not play racial politics. You would actually debate the issues. But no, the ANC and the EFF, they are not interested in debate. They don't care about debating. They simply want to play the man. They don't want to play the game. The ANC knows that, man, if we have to talk about policy, if we have to talk about the achievements and everything, they are going to fail. That's why even the EFF doesn't like to play all that game of debating. The EFF does not debate. That's why every time when you say something about the EFF, the supporters of the EFF, they will come out and say that you are sponsored by white monopoly capital. They will never address the issues you are talking about. They will never address the issues that you are talking about. Not because they don't want to, because they are incapable of addressing the issues. They are incapable of addressing the issues. Their leaders actually condition them to think that, guys, whoever opposes the EFF hates black people. Whoever opposes Julius Malema hates black people. So this is what the supporters of the EFF go around and telling the people. They go around and say these things to people. You know, it is okay when Julius Malema can oppose Ramaphosa. Julius Malema can oppose John Steeuinhuisen. Julius Malema can oppose all the politicians in South Africa. But as soon as other politicians start opposing Julius Malema, guess what? His supporters are going to come out and start saying those politicians, they hate black people, they hate the black unity and everything. The EFF supporters, they are incapable of addressing the issues that you are talking about. I do not blame them. I do not blame them. Their leaders actually condition them to thinking like this. And because they belong to a cult, it is not hard for you to make these people think like this. It is not hard. So these people, they don't care about the future of this country. They don't care. They don't care. I understand how frustrating it is for John Steeuinhuisen, man. I can imagine how frustrating it is for John Steeuinhuisen, man. Just imagine, man, saying all the right things, but people not voting for you simply because you are white.
Now, we all know that water is life. No human being, no biological organism can survive without water. We can't grow food without it. We can't drink. We can't make sure that we have a reliable sewage system. We can't do safe medical procedures. Without clean water, the human being will die. It is necessary. Amanzi impilo. Water is life. Without water, there is death. So by taking away your water, the ANC is in effect threatening the lives of each and every one of you and each and every one of the people who live in our community. And it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, black or white, Indian or colored. Without water, we will all die. Now, the latest crisis created by the ANC couldn't be more urgent. Here in eTHEKWINI, the crisis is moved beyond the theoretical. Under the ANC in eTHEKWINI, we are already on stage 16 of water shedding. Stage 16. The community of Besta have not had water for 14 years. It's made the life of the citizens of Besta a living hell, where elderly residents and those on SASSA grants have to pay people money to bring buckets and containers full of water into their homes.
I mean, like, in that situation, who do you blame? Do you blame the ANC for giving people such a horrible treatment, or do you blame the people for keep voting for the African National Congress? Do you blame the ANC in that case, or do you blame the people who keep voting for the ANC? Because can you imagine if your neighborhood doesn't have water for 14 years? Can you imagine how that is like? For 14 years, your neighborhood doesn't have water, but you people keep voting for the same people. You vote for the same people because the same people are black. They are denying you the services, but they keep telling you that you are black and we are black and you need to vote for us simply because we are black. We are both black. Who do we blame in that scenario?
Instead of fixing the infrastructure, instead of getting into the ground and fixing the pipes and taking the money that's required to replace pipes that should have been replaced 20 years ago, what do they now do? They're taking your money and they're giving lucrative water container contracts to their friends. So the ANC and their cronies are getting rich off the back of the suffering of our people. And I don't know about you, but I'm angry about that. And I hope that you are too. Because it should make every person in this country angry.
It should. It should, but the people of this country, man, they're failing to be angry. The people of this country, they're not outraged. Do you remember Mike Sherm on State of the Nation, man? He said the people of this country, they are not outraged anymore. It's almost as if Ramaphosa has beaten us into submission. The people of this country, they're not angry anymore. We are not. Guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabasa. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.